Admiral Zektar stood on the bridge of his massive warship, looking out at the stars. He had ruled the space around 300 star systems for many years. His people, the Andorians, had the biggest and strongest ships in the galaxy. No one had ever beaten them in a fight. The bridge was huge and filled with screens showing star maps. Zektar's blue skin gleamed under the bright lights. His forearms moved quickly as he checked reports from his fleet commanders. Everything was normal. His ships patrolled the borders of their empire, keeping everyone in line. "Admiral," called Commander Velfek from his station, "we have finished mapping the new sector, the one we call 7 Alpha. Zektar walked over to look at the map. The sector looked empty except for one small star system. "Any signs of life?" "Yes, sir. There is a blue planet in the third orbit. We detected some basic technology. Nothing advanced. They still use chemical rockets and metal bullets." Zektar laughed. "Primitives. Add them to the integration list. We will deal with them when we have time." Far away, on the blue planet called Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the EDF Vigilance. The ship floated in space near Jupiter, hidden behind one of the gas giant's moons. Jake had been watching strange energy readings for weeks. "Captain," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Betty Walsh, "we're picking up more of those weird signals. They're coming from the outer edge of our solar system." Jake frowned. He was a tall man with brown hair and serious eyes. He had been in the Earth Defense Fleet for 15 years. "How many ships?" "At least 6, sir. Maybe more. They're using some kind of stealth technology." Jake pressed a button on his chair. "Get me Admiral Grant on the secure channel." The main screen flickered, and Admiral Lisa Grant appeared. She was sitting in her office on Earth's orbital command station. Lisa was a tough woman with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. She had been preparing for this day for 20 years. "Jake, what's the situation? The alien scouts are getting bolder, Admiral. They're moving closer to Mars. I think they're mapping our colonies." Lisa nodded. "I was afraid of this. We always knew first contact might not go well. How long before they find our main settlements?" "Maybe a week if they keep moving at this speed." "All right. Keep watching them. Don't let them see you. I need to talk to the president." The screen went dark. Jake looked out at the stars and wondered what kind of aliens were out there. Were they friendly? Did they want to trade? Or were they like the warlike races in the old science fiction movies? On the bridge of the Andorian scout ship, Commander Velfak studied the readings from his sensors. The humans had built cities on their red neighbor planet. They had mining stations in the asteroid belt. They even had a small base on their moon. "Interesting," he said to his science officer. "They have spread to multiple worlds. But their technology is still very basic. Should we contact them, Commander?" Velfak shook his head. "Not yet. The Admiral wants a full report first. These humans look weak. They will be easy to control." Back on Earth, President Helen Carter sat in the Oval Office with her top advisors. The room was tense. Everyone knew this moment would come eventually, but they had hoped for more time. "How sure are we that they're hostile?" asked Dr. Amy Phillips, the government's top expert on alien life. General Ryan Torres, head of the Global Defense Initiative, spoke first. "They're mapping our colonies and staying hidden. That's not what friendly visitors do." "Maybe they're just being careful," Amy replied. "First contact is scary for everyone." Helen Carter looked tired. She had been president for 6 years, but nothing had prepared her for this. "What are our options, General?" "We have 12 defense fleets spread throughout human space. Each one has 6 ships with our latest weapons. The orbital defense platforms are ready. The asteroid launchers are charged and waiting." Amy looked surprised. "Asteroid launchers?" Ryan smiled grimly. We've been preparing for this for 50 years. Doctor, we have weapons hidden all over the solar system. If these aliens want to fight, they'll get one. Admiral Zektar received Commander Velfek's report while eating his morning meal. The food was a blue paste that tasted like metal. He read the data on his personal tablet while his servants cleaned his quarters. The humans had over 8 billion people on their main world. They had colonies on 5 planets and dozens of space stations. But their ships were slow, and their weapons were simple. The Andorians could conquer them in a few days. Prepare the integration fleet, Zektar ordered. His aide, standard protocol. 12 heavy cruisers and a diplomatic team. We will give them the usual choice. The aide bowed. Yes, Admiral. Surrender or be destroyed. Exactly. These humans will learn to serve the Empire, just like all the others. But Zektar was wrong about the humans. They had been watching the galaxy for decades. They had seen other civilizations rise and fall. They had learned that the universe was a dangerous place where only the strong survived. Jake Morrison received new orders from Admiral Grant. He was to pull back his ship and join the main defense fleet. The time for hiding was over. Earth was about to meet its first alien visitors, and everyone hoped they would be friendly. But Jake had read the intelligence reports. He knew about the Andorian Empire. He knew they conquered worlds and enslaved entire species. If they wanted to fight, Earth would give them one they would never forget. The stage was set. 2 civilizations were about to meet for the first time. One thought it was dealing with primitives. The other had been preparing for war among the stars for half a century. Neither side knew what was coming next. The Andorian fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like ghosts materializing from the void. 12 massive ships dropped out of hyperspace, their hulls gleaming silver in the starlight. Each cruiser was over 2 miles long and bristled, with weapons that could level cities. Ambassador Kethmer stood on the bridge of the lead ship, adjusting his ceremonial robes. He was tall, even for an Andorian, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered blue-green in the light. This was his 100th first contact mission. It always went the same way. Open a channel to the primitive world, he commanded. The communication beam reached Earth in minutes. Every radio telescope, satellite, and communication station on the planet picked up the signal. The message was broadcast in perfect English, somehow translated by the alien computers. People of Earth, Kethmer's voice echoed across the planet. I am Ambassador Kethmer of the great Andorian Empire. We have come to offer you a choice. Submit to our rule, and your species will be allowed to serve our glorious civilization. Refuse, and face complete destruction. In the White House Situation Room, President Helen Carter watched the broadcast with her advisors. The room was silent except for the hum of computers and the quiet breathing of scared people. Well, she said finally, that could have gone better. General. Ryan Torres leaned forward. Madam President, our fleets are ready. We have ships positioned throughout the solar system. Dr. Amy Phillips shook her head. We should try to negotiate. Maybe they don't understand our culture. They just threaten to destroy us, Ryan replied. I think their message was pretty clear. Helen Carter looked at the star charts on the wall. Somewhere out there, alien ships were waiting for her answer. Get me Admiral Grant. Admiral Lisa Grant was already on her way to the command center when the call came. She had been preparing for this moment for 20 years. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her blue eyes were cold as ice. Admiral, the President said over the secure channel, what's our situation? We have 3 fleets ready to engage. Captain Morrison is leading the first response team. The EDF Vigilance, EDF Liberty, and EDF Defiance are moving to intercept. Can we win? Lisa paused. We're about to find out, Mom. Captain Jake Morrison felt his heart pounding as his ship approached the alien fleet. The three human vessels looked tiny compared to the massive Andorian cruisers. But Jake knew his ships carried weapons the aliens had never seen before. "All ships, this is Morrison," he said into his headset. "Remember your training. Hit hard, hit fast, and don't let them surround us." The EDF Vigilance was Jake's flagship. It was smaller than the alien ships, but built for speed and maneuverability. Its hull was covered in adaptive armor that could change density based on incoming threats. Hidden inside were railguns that could fire projectiles at incredible speeds. "Incoming transmission from the alien fleet," reported Lieutenant Betty Walsh. "Put it through." Ambassador Kethner's face appeared on the main screen. His four eyes studied Jake with obvious contempt. "I am Ambassador Kethner. You will surrender your ships immediately and prepare for integration into our empire." Jake looked back at the alien without blinking. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are trespassing in human space. Leave now, or we will force you to leave." Kethner laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You dare threaten us? Your primitive ships are no match for Andorian technology." "Maybe," Jake said, "but you're about to find out what human stubbornness can do." The communication ended. Jake turned to his weapons officer. "Charge the railguns. Target their lead ship." The battle began when the Andorians opened fire. Beams of superheated plasma shot across space, designed to vaporize the human ships instantly. But instead of destroying them, the energy beams splashed harmlessly against the adaptive armor. "What?" Kethner stared at his tactical display. "How are they still alive?" "Their armor is absorbing our plasma fire," reported his weapons officer. "It's some kind of reactive technology." Jake smiled grimly. "Our turn. Fire all railguns." The human ships launched their counterattack. Instead of energy beams, they fired solid projectiles made of dense metal. The railguns accelerated the rounds to nearly the speed of light, turning them into devastating kinetic weapons. The Andorian shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, were useless against solid matter moving at such incredible speed. The first railgun round punched through the lead cruiser's hull like a bullet through paper. The second round hit the ship's reactor, causing a massive explosion. "Impossible!" Kethner shouted as his ship shook from the impact. "How can primitives have such weapons?" Captain Morrison ordered a full assault. The three human ships moved in perfect formation, their railguns firing continuously. Each shot was carefully aimed at weak points in the alien ship's armor. The EDF Liberty launched a spread of nuclear missiles, but these weren't ordinary warheads. They were kinetic penetrators with nuclear cores, designed to punch through armor. Before exploding inside the target, 3 Andorian cruisers exploded in brilliant fireballs. The others began to retreat, their commanders shocked by the ferocity of the human attack. "This is impossible," Kethner transmitted to his fleet. "These humans fight like demons. Their weapons are unlike anything in our database." But Jake Morrison wasn't done. He ordered his ships to pursue the retreating aliens. The human vessels were faster and more agile, darting between the massive cruisers like fighters attacking bombers. The EDF Defiance rammed one of the alien ships, its reinforced hull punching through the enemy's armor. The ship's crew fought hand-to-hand with the Andorian Marines, using projectile weapons that cut through alien body armor like tissue paper. Ambassador Kethner watched his fleet being destroyed by creatures he had dismissed as primitives. Half his ships were gone, and the rest were heavily damaged. He had never seen such ruthless efficiency in battle. "Retreat," he ordered. "All ships, jump to hyperspace immediately." As the surviving Andorian ships fled, Kethner sent an emergency message to Admiral Ziktar. "The primitives have weapons we do not understand. They fight without honor, using kinetic projectiles and nuclear explosives. Request immediate reinforcements. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge, watching the alien ships disappear into hyperspace. His uniform was torn and bloodied from the battle, but his eyes were bright with victory. "Damage report," he ordered. "Minor hull damage to all ships," reported his tactical officer. "No casualties. The adaptive armor held." "Good. Get me Admiral Grant." When Lisa Grant's face appeared on the screen, Jake could see the pride in her eyes. "Well done, Captain, but this is just the beginning. They'll be back with more ships. We'll be ready, Admiral." As the human ships returned to their positions, Jake looked out at the stars. The first battle was over, but the war was just beginning. The aliens now knew that Earth wasn't as helpless as they had thought. Somewhere in the darkness of space, the Andorian Empire was preparing its response. They had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again, but they still didn't understand what they were really facing. Earth had been preparing for this day for 50 years. Every human colony, every space station, every hidden weapons platform was ready for war. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight to win. They fought to survive. And they were very good at it. Emperor Drakethul smashed his fist against the table, sending data tablets flying across the throne room. His forearms trembled with rage as he read Ambassador Kethmer's report. Never in the Empire's 1,000-year history had they lost ships to a primitive species. "Impossible," he growled, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "How can savages with chemical rockets defeat our plasma cannons?" Admiral Ziktar stood before the Emperor's throne, his blue skin pale with fear. He had commanded fleets for 50 years and never lost a battle. Now he faced the most dangerous enemy the Empire had ever encountered. "Your Majesty," Ziktar said carefully, "the humans use weapons we have never seen. Solid projectiles that move faster than light beams. Our shields cannot stop them." "Then we will crush them with numbers," Drakethul declared. "Mobilize the 5th Imperial Fleet, 200 ships. I want those human worlds burned to ash." Ziktar bowed deeply. "It will be done, Your Majesty." As the Admiral left the throne room, he wondered if 200 ships would be enough. The humans had destroyed 12 cruisers with only 3 small vessels. What other surprises were they hiding? On Earth, Admiral Lisa Grant stood in the command center, watching displays that showed the entire solar system. Red dots marked the positions of human ships and defense platforms. Green dots showed friendly colonies and space stations. Everything was ready. "Admiral," called Major Chris Bennett from his computer station, "we're detecting massive energy. Signatures at the edge of the system. Looks like they're coming back." Lisa nodded grimly. "How many?" "At least 200 ships, ma'am. Maybe more." Dr. Amy Phillips looked up from her research station. "Admiral, I've been studying the alien technology we captured. Their computers are incredibly advanced, but they have a weakness." "What kind?" "Of weakness? They're all connected to a central network. If we can get a virus into one ship, it might spread to their entire fleet." Major Bennett's eyes lit up. "I can write a virus that will make their computers go crazy. But we need to get close to one of their ships." Lisa studied the tactical display. "That might be possible. Captain Morrison's ships are fast enough to get in close." Captain Jake Morrison received his new orders while his ship was being repaired. The EDF Vigilance had taken damage in the first battle, but the engineering crew had worked around the clock to fix it. Now it was stronger than ever. "Captain," said Lieutenant Betty Walsh, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet." Jake nodded. "Put it through." Admiral Ziktar's face appeared on the screen. He was standing on the bridge of his flagship, the Cosmic Dominion. The massive ship was 10 miles long and carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. "Humans, Ziktar." "Said, his voice filled with hatred. "You have made a terrible mistake. We are the 5th Imperial Fleet. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Surrender now, or we will turn your planet into a lifeless rock." Jake looked back at the alien admiral without fear. "This is Captain Jake Morrison. You've already seen what happens when you threaten Earth. Leave now or face the consequences." Zektar laughed coldly. "You destroyed 12 ships with a lucky strike. We have 200. Your luck has run out." The communication ended. Jake turned to his crew. "All right, people. This is what we've been training for. Time to show these aliens what humans can do." The Andorian fleet moved into the solar system like a wave of destruction. 200 ships in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with deadly weapons. Admiral Zektar was confident. No species had ever faced such overwhelming force and survived. But Earth had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Hidden throughout the solar system were weapons the aliens couldn't detect. Asteroid mining stations that were actually MUSS drivers. Communication satellites that were really nuclear missile launchers. Even the space junk floating around Earth was rigged with explosives. "Activate the Deep Space Defense Network," Admiral Grant ordered. Across the solar system, hidden weapons came online. The asteroid belt suddenly came alive with movement as massive rocks began accelerating toward the alien fleet. Each asteroid had been fitted with guidance systems and nuclear warheads. Admiral Zektar watched in horror as his sensors detected hundreds of incoming objects. "What are those?" he demanded. "Asteroids, sir," reported his tactical officer. "But they're moving. Too fast. Someone is controlling them." "Impossible. Asteroids don't move that fast." The first wave of rocks hit the Andorian fleet like a hammer. Each asteroid weighed millions of tons and was traveling at incredible speed. The alien ship's shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid matter moving at such velocity that 20 Andorian ships exploded in the first minute. The asteroids punched through their hulls like bullets through paper. The aliens had never faced weapons like this before. "Return fire," Zektar ordered. "Destroy those asteroids." The alien ships fired their plasma cannons at the incoming rocks. But there were too many. For every asteroid they destroyed, 3 more took its place. The humans had turned the entire solar system into a weapon. Captain Morrison led his small fleet in a daring attack on the alien flagship. The 3 human ships moved like ghosts through the chaos, using the asteroid field as cover. Their mission was to get close enough to upload Major Bennett's virus. "There," Jake pointed at the massive alien ship, the Cosmic Dominion. "That's our target." The EDF Vigilance accelerated toward the enemy flagship, dodging plasma fire and debris. The ship's adaptive armor absorbed several direct hits, but Jake could feel the hull shaking under the impact. "Close enough," he said. "Chris, upload the virus." Major Bennett's fingers flew over his keyboard. The virus was a masterpiece of destructive programming, designed to spread through the alien network like wildfire. It would make their computers malfunction, their weapons misfire, and their shields fail. "Uploading now," Bennett reported. "Got it. The virus is in their system." The effect was immediate. The Cosmic Dominion's lights began flickering as the virus spread through its computers. Other ships in the fleet started experiencing problems as the infection jumped from vessel to vessel. "What's happening?" Admiral Zektar demanded as his ship systems began failing. "Some kind of computer virus," his technical officer replied. "It's spreading through our entire network." Several Andorian ships began firing at each other as their targeting systems malfunctioned. Others found their engines shutting down, leaving them helpless in space. The virus was destroying their fleet from within, but Jake Morrison wasn't finished. He ordered a ramming attack on the alien flagship. The EDF Vigilance accelerated to maximum speed, its reinforced hull aimed at the enemy bridge. "Brace for impact," Jake ordered. The human ship slammed into the cosmic dominion with tremendous force. The alien vessel's hull cracked and began to buckle. Jake led a boarding party into the enemy ship, fighting hand-to-hand with the Andorian. "Crew," the humans moved through the alien corridors like a force of nature. Their projectile weapons cut through alien armor, while their grenades filled the air with deadly shrapnel. The Andorians had never faced such savage fighters. Jake cornered Admiral Ziktar on the bridge of his own ship. The alien admiral was twice Jake's size, with 4 arms and natural armor. But Jake had something the alien didn't expect: pure human determination. "Surrender," Jake said, pointing his rifle at the alien's head. Ziktar looked around at his destroyed fleet. More than half his ships were gone, and the rest were helpless. A virus had crippled his entire force, and the asteroids were still coming. "I surrender," he said quietly. The battle was over. A mighty 5th Imperial Fleet had been destroyed by a species they had dismissed as primitives. The humans had used every weapon at their disposal: asteroids, viruses, nuclear missiles, and pure fighting spirit. Admiral Grant received the victory report with quiet satisfaction. "Well done, Captain Morrison. How many enemy ships destroyed?" "147 confirmed kills," Jake replied. "The rest are surrendering or retreating." "Excellent. But this isn't over. The Empire will send more ships." Jake nodded. "We'll be ready, Admiral. We've shown them what humans can do. Now they know we're not going to roll over and die." As the surviving Andorian ships limped away from Earth, their crews carried a new message back to the Empire. The humans weren't primitives. They were dangerous, clever, and absolutely ruthless in battle. Emperor Drakethul would soon learn that. His empire had awakened something terrible. Humanity had been hiding in the darkness, preparing for war. Now they were ready to step into the light and show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The next phase of the war was about to begin. The Battle of Earth began at exactly 1432 Greenwich Mean time on a Tuesday that would be remembered forever. Admiral Ziktar had returned with the full might of the Andorian Empire: 500 warships, 1,000,000 soldiers, and weapons that could crack planets in half. This time, Ziktar growled from his new flagship, the Eternal Dominion, "We will show no mercy." The alien fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a metal storm. Ships filled the sky from Mercury to Mars, their hulls gleaming with deadly intent. Each vessel carried enough firepower to level a city, and together they represented the largest military force in galactic history. On Earth, Admiral Lisa Grant stood in the command center, watching the enemy fleet appear on her screens. The numbers were overwhelming. 500 alien ships against Earth's 12 defense fleets. It should have been impossible to win. "Admiral," called Major Chris Bennett from his station, "enemy ships are taking positions around the entire solar system. They're not giving use any escape routes." Lisa nodded calmly. "Good. That means they're all trapped here with us." Captain Jake Morrison, now promoted to Commodore, led the human defense from his flagship, the EDF Retribution. The ship was larger than his old vessel, with heavier armor and more powerful weapons. But it was still tiny compared to the alien. "Dreadnoughts. All human ships. This is Morrison," he said into his communicator. "Today we fight for everything we hold dear. Our families, our homes, our future. Show these aliens what it means to mess with humanity." The battle began when the Andorians opened fire with everything they had. Plasma beams lit up space like deadly lightning. Antimatter missiles streaked toward Earth's orbital stations. The aliens expected to end the fight in the first few minutes, but Earth's defenses were ready. The orbital stations activated their shield generators, creating protective barriers of pure energy. The plasma beams splashed harmlessly against the shields, while point defense lasers shot down the incoming missiles. Impossible. Admiral Zektar stared at his tactical display. How are they stopping our weapons? They've upgraded their defenses, reported his tactical officer. These aren't the same humans we fought before. Zektar was right. Earth had learned from the previous battles. Human scientists had studied captured alien technology and found ways to counter it. The shields used the aliens' own energy against them, turning plasma fire into power for the defense grid. But the real surprise came when Earth's hidden weapons activated. The asteroid belt suddenly came alive with movement. Thousands of rocks began accelerating toward the alien fleet, each one guided by human computers and packed with nuclear warheads. Not again, Zektar groaned as the first wave of asteroids slammed into his ships. The aliens had prepared for this attack, but the humans had made improvements. The new asteroids were faster, more maneuverable, and carried more powerful explosives. 50 alien ships exploded in the first wave. The asteroids punched through their hulls like bullets through paper. But this time, the Andorians were ready with a counterattack. Fire the planet crackers, Zektar ordered. The alien dreadnoughts unleashed their most powerful weapons. Beams of pure destruction lanced out toward Earth, designed to split the planet's crust and boil away its oceans. These were weapons of genocide, meant to erase entire species from existence. But the beams never reached Earth. Massive mirrors, hidden in orbit around the planet, reflected the deadly energy back at the alien fleet. The planet cracker's own power was turned against them, destroying dozens of Andorian ships in brilliant explosions. How? Zektar demanded. How do they keep doing this? The answer was simple. Humans had been preparing for this war for 50 years. Every possible attack had been anticipated and countered. Every weakness in alien technology had been studied and exploited. Commodore Morrison led his fleet in a series of hit-and-run attacks. The human ships moved like ghosts through the chaos, striking at weak points in the alien formation. They used unconventional tactics that confused the enemy commanders. The EDF Vengeance flew directly into the heart of the alien fleet, its hull covered in explosive charges. When the aliens tried to capture it, the ship detonated like a massive bomb, taking out 6 enemy vessels in the explosion. The EDF Indomitable launched a spread of what looked like escape pods. The aliens ignored them, thinking they were just fleeing crew members. But the pods were actually nuclear mines, programmed to detonate when alien ships came close. They're using everything as a weapon, reported one of Zektar's commanders. Even their escape pods are bombs. The humans fought with a desperation that shocked the aliens. They used their own ships as missiles, turning space junk into shrapnel bombs, and even programming their communication satellites to ram enemy vessels. But the most devastating attack came from an unexpected source. Dr. Amy Phillips had been studying alien biology, looking for weaknesses. She had found something interesting. The Andorians' 4-armed bodies were vulnerable to certain sound frequencies. All ships activate sonic weapons, Morrison ordered. The human fleet began broadcasting sound waves at specific frequencies. The aliens couldn't hear them in the vacuum of space, but when the waves hit their hulls, they were transmitted throughout the ships. The Andorian crews began collapsing as the sound waves disrupted their nervous systems. What's happening to my crew? Zektar demanded as his bridge officers fell to the deck, writhing in pain. Some kind of sonic attack, his medical officer replied. It's affecting our neural systems. The aliens tried to counter the sonic weapons, but the humans had already moved on to their next attack. Major Bennett had developed a new computer. Virus, one that could spread through the aliens' life support systems. Uploading virus now, Bennett reported from his station aboard the EDF Retribution. The virus spread through the alien fleet like a plague. Ship's life support systems began failing, leaving crews gasping for breath. Others found their gravity. Generators malfunctioning, leaving them floating helplessly in zero gravity. Admiral Ziktar watched his mighty fleet falling apart. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled, and the rest were barely holding together. The humans had turned the entire solar system into a death trap. All ships, retreat to minimum safe distance, he ordered. But the humans weren't done. As the alien fleet tried to withdraw, Earth's final surprise activated. The gas giant Jupiter suddenly erupted with energy as hidden weapons platforms emerged. From its atmosphere, the platforms had been disguised as research stations, studying the planet's storms and radiation belts. But they were actually massive railguns, capable of firing projectiles across the entire solar system. Firing solution locked, reported the commander of Platform 7. Target, alien flagship. The railgun fired, sending a projectile the size of a bus toward the Eternal Dominion at nearly the speed of light. The alien ship's shields were useless against solid matter moving at such velocity. The projectile punched through the dreadnought's hull, traveling the entire length of the ship before exiting through the stern. The Eternal Dominion broke in, half, its reactor exploding in a brilliant fireball. Admiral Ziktar barely escaped in a lifepod as his flagship died around him. He watched in horror as the human railguns picked off his remaining ships one by one. The weapons were too fast to dodge and too powerful to stop. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How can primitives have such weapons?" The answer came from Commodore Morrison, who had been listening to the alien communications. "We're not primitives, Admiral. We're humans. And we've been preparing for this war since before you were born." The Battle of Earth lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Andorian Empire's greatest fleet was nothing but floating debris. 500 ships had been reduced to scrap metal, and 1 million soldiers would never return home. Admiral Lisa Grant stood in the command center, watching. The tactical display showed the results of the battle. Green dots marked surviving human ships and stations. Red dots showed the remains of the alien fleet. "Casualties?" she asked. "Minimal," reported her aide. "We lost 12 ships and 43 crew members. The aliens lost everything." Jake Morrison's voice came over the communicator. "Admiral, we've captured the enemy commander. Admiral Ziktar is requesting permission to speak with you." Lisa nodded. "Put him through." Ziktar's face appeared on the screen. The alien admiral looked broken, his confidence shattered. I wish to discuss terms of surrender." "The terms are simple," Lisa replied. "You will return to your empire and deliver a message. Earth is not to be attacked again. Any alien ship that enters this system without permission will be destroyed. And if the Emperor refuses?" Lisa smiled coldly. "Then we'll come to him. This solar system has weapons you can't imagine. We can turn asteroids into missiles, moons into bombs, and planets into battleships. Tell your Emperor that humanity is no longer hiding." As the surviving alien ships limped away from Earth, they carried more than just a message of defeat. They carried the knowledge that a new power had emerged in the galaxy. The humans had shown that with enough determination, creativity, and pure stubbornness, even the smallest species could defeat the greatest empire. The age of human isolation was ending. The galaxy was about to meet its newest and most dangerous inhabitants. The news of the Andorian Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, alien species gathered around their communication devices, unable to believe what they were hearing. The mighty empire that had ruled space for 1,000 years had been crushed by a species no one had ever heard of. Emperor Drakethul sat on his throne, staring at the reports from his surviving commanders. 2 entire fleets destroyed, 1 million soldiers dead. His greatest admiral captured and humiliated. It was impossible to accept. "Your Majesty," whispered his intelligence chief, SP,